Hey everyone, welcome to another video. And in this one, let me widen up the angle for you. I'll show you my outdoor kitchen, which is recently finished. If you haven't been following my channel, I have a playlist on the entire build over the last 9 months of literally everything. I take you from the drawing concept all the way through to completion, the tear out of the old kitchen, the pouring of the foundation, the framing of the all aluminum frame in this outdoor kitchen, all of the stonework, placing the components. I take you through everything through this pretty extensive series. I will probably produce one more video that takes all of the episodes from the build and condenses them into one kind of teaser video. But until then, you'll need to just watch through what you're interested in if you are interested in how I did this project. I'll show you in this video the insides of the cabinets, the refrigerator, the grill, the sink, the side burner, some details about this center bar, why I designed it the way it did, how functional it has been, and I'll also show you a little bit back here on the patio so you can see how we tied all of the stone in to this kitchen concept and really made the space look uniform and like it's always been here. So stay tuned. Okay, so if you look back here on this wall, you'll see the ledger stone, and it lines up with the ledger stone here, and it's very uniform, matches all the way through around this door back here. The ledger is capped with a stone travertine ledger cap. This is called silver travertine. You can see right here, we have it around this column, and I decided to only do the chair rail around this space, which is under cover. Everywhere else I did not do the chair rail, but I did run the ledger all the way up to the ceiling in both this outdoor shower area and this door, which has access to the house. This shower area, I included a teak mat to stand on. The hose bib was already there and I didn't feel like moving it, so the hose lives there. It's a good functional spot, but it kind of takes away from the aesthetics. The stone goes all the way up. This is a one-piece stainless steel shower assembly with a handheld and then a little place for soap. We've got this octopus theme everywhere. And then here, the ledger just goes right up all the way to the crown up there. And when you stand back over here, you can really see how it ties together. Came out really good, very happy, a ton of work, but it looks like it was built this way, and that was the objective. Another objective was to get a little bit more counter space in this very tight kitchen area with such a huge grill. And I did not want to create a wall. So if you watch the very first video, you'll see I was really struggling on how can I add a center island with maximum counter space and still be able to sit here in this seating area right here and see right through to the grill and really make it look dimensional and not like a wall. I didn't want your eye to have to stop at the center island. So we came up with this concept to put these two columns in. These columns go down into the ground about 24 inches. It's a total overkill. I ran electric to it right here. And we use that for sous vide and pressure cooking. We usually bring that stuff out here whenever we do it, so it doesn't, particularly the pressure cooker, when you release it, it doesn't stink up the house. Decided on this offset style of countertop so that if somebody's sitting here, I can use this area to stick a food tray or utensils or whatever. And if nobody's sitting here, I just use the top counter. I recently built this walnut serving tray, which I'm going to post a video on. So if you want to see how I built that, please subscribe. It was a live edge piece that I cut down, oiled, and installed the handles and these feet, which I happen to have left over from another project. And it really adds it adds a little something out here. It's a nice centerpiece. It's a great conversation piece. These columns are covered, as I mentioned, with the same ledger stone, and That top piece of granite is epoxied with a marine epoxy. It's called 610. It has a holding force in the thousands, so you could probably stand on this and it wouldn't flip off of the top here. In fact, I believe it would probably break before it let go, but we're not gonna test that. These stools, I'm going to stain with a walnut stain in satin so they match the serving tray and this board over there that I'll show you in a minute. So once those stools are stained, everything will look really uniform. And this little foot rail I got from Amazon, and I modified it. If you're familiar with these, they have a blank there which just sits on the ground, and basically the same type of blank right here that you would screw into the wall. It has two pre-drilled screws in it. Well, I cut that off and embedded the arm into the stone, mudded that in, and it is super solid, not going anywhere. And it's really held up nice and provides a great place to put your feet. And by luck, that rung on the stool is high enough to clear so that we can store the stools right like that with the legs on the inside of that foot rail and provide as much space as possible to get through here, because that's how we get down to the dock and the boats. And that was important to maintain enough space to walk through there. So let's get to the main event back here. We're gonna start with the side burner, and then we'll move into the sink, and I'll show you the grill, and then everything else. We'll just keep going. First, while we're here though, the ventilation came out like that. It's just a stainless steel panel, and this stonework, this is flat subway style travertine tiles, and I just mated them up to the edges of the rather thick ledger. Did the same thing back here as a backsplash, and then used a little piece of pea stone, I think they call that. It's like a beaded stone to cap that off. Put the pieces back here. I can show you how I did that in one of the videos. I did it all on a piece of concrete board, let it dry, and then put it in place because I couldn't access it once the grill was put in. But that is just a look at the stone. One other feature with the stone, this part is glued, this part is concrete, or mud, thin set. This is glued because some of this is glued right to the aluminum framing. Because I ran out of clearance to put concrete board here, you'll see in the last episode that I had to mount the concrete board in between the framing, glue the stone right to the concrete board and the framing, because I literally have no clearance. You can see it touches there and it touches there. It was just a matter of honestly, it was luck. I measured it exactly, but I didn't realize that I needed to add an extra ½ inch really for concrete board on either side. So I put this piece of molding in here, stone molding, I don't know what you call it. It's the same stuff that's on top of all of the ledger. And I did that because I had a gap here that I needed something that would come out further than this stone to cover. So that worked perfectly all the way across. Looks really nice. And these, the fridge just sits here. It's so friggin' heavy that it's not going anywhere. And the chest of drawers is actually mounted. But that's a look at the stonework. This light here is a Wi-Fi light that controls these pool lights that go all the way around. And also this light here, which doesn't come on during the day. It's got a photocell on it also, but that lights up the backyard on the side here pretty well. Unfortunately, it's white. I wish it was black. I happen to have this black paddle switch for the disposal. Someday I'll probably swap that out to white so they match, but for now, it is what it is. These are 304 stainless switch plate covers, so everything matches. And this is, I did a video on this, but that octopus that you saw earlier, that is the octopus bottle opener that happens to fit perfectly on this little stainless hook that I found. Anyway, let's get to the Alfresco side burner. Alfresco makes a couple different types of side burners. I think the Versa is probably my favorite. It's a little bit beefier and you can use a wok on it, but this fit the space, and it is exactly the same dimensions as the sink. They don't make a sink cover. They do make a sink, they do make a cover for this. So you'll see later at the end of the video, the cover fits perfectly. So that was just pure luck. The gas is plumbed because we have a big tank in the ground. So you just turn it on and hit the igniter and it lights right up. The fact that the gas is on all the time and it's very difficult to get to the shutoff is not a problem because, typically on a home, your gas remains on all the time to your water heater, your range, whatever. The shutoff is just difficult to get to. So what I did was installed, I'll show you later, a Wi-Fi propane detector. So if I ever have a leak, I get a notice on my phone and I can sleep at night. In the event of an emergency, the shutoff is literally right behind this wall right there. So if I did have to shut it off, I would be able to. Anyway, back to this. There's a little drain right here. So if you overflow, it just drains right into here and you can pull this out. Sorry about all the traffic in the background. We got a house going in down the street and there's a lot of big trucks headed back and forth this beautiful Saturday morning. Anyway, that's about it for the side burner. The top is stainless and it looks really good, and it has this little rubber gasket around it which really keeps the water out when it rains, because if I don't cover this stuff, it does get water, you can imagine, when it rains. Let's go to the sink next. I added this little handle right here because I needed one more place to hang a little towel. It's on with double stick tape and it's holding really well. It's the same series as this. That is epoxied on because the double stick tape wouldn't stick to the stucco. But this gave me a place to hang some towels, and then I use this one as kind of a dish rag. I'll show you this later, and this here is stuff that I use regularly. I'll save that for the end. Anyway, this sink is a insulated sink. You could fill it with ice and it would keep ice colder, longer than a regular sink. We've never used it as an insulated sink. I bought it entirely for the size, but it's kind of a neat feature if you needed it. This little board I made, it's a walnut cutting board that I just cut down to fit. It's about 1.25 inches thick, and I use it all the time for stuff like putting tongs or a spatula or whatever. It's just a little bit of additional counter space for me. This is a Moen sensor faucet, and it's motion sensor. You don't even have to touch it. And I selected it because the sensor is all the way out here on the spout as opposed to back here. It's a little bit of a reach from here all the way to the faucet. My belly, anyway, bumps against it if I were to reach all the way back there. That said, having this sensor way out here in the front completely fixes that problem. And that back there is a sensor pump from Simple Human. You can just hold the scrubby or your hand under there and it'll produce soap for you. That's been really convenient. This mat down there is to protect the stainless when I put a pan or something in there. And it also provides some ventilation so everything stays nice and dry. Nothing is just resting directly on the stainless. That's pretty much it for the sink. The disposal addition is a must. I highly recommend that. I'll show you under this counter or in that cabinet. I'll show you that later. But first, let's take a look at this grill. So this is a 52-inch Alfresco all grill model. What that means is they make this same chassis in a grill that stops about here with a side burner on it. So this one is all grill. The handle spins, kind of a nice feature. So when you lift the spring assisted lid, it goes right back. You don't have to spin your hand. You can just grab it. It's a pretty neat idea. Like I mentioned, it's spring assisted, so it's hardly anything to open it. And I've added this griddle. It's an Alfresco griddle that you can add in, and I made a couple modifications to the Sear Station to make it more functional for me. I'll show you that in a minute. Again, it has the same lighter feature. It is wired to 110, so you don't need to worry about any batteries. It's got a great lighting system. It's all LED. It's this nice kind of natural light, not that super white light. And these two halogen lights back here, I guess there's a problem putting LEDs in such a hot space. Those two halogen lights have served me well. I've never run into a situation where I thought I needed more light. This is the Rotisserie Button, and this rotisserie is amazing. You can see it spinning right there. It's chain driven. The motor is located under the grill. I keep the gigantic rotisserie right there. I keep the forks in the drawer. I'll show you in a minute. But we rotisserie so much more now that it's this simple and I don't have to mount this motor on the side every time I want a rotisserie. You just turn it on, turn it off. You can fit 4 chickens here perfectly. So I added this Sear Station and I got rid of these V grates that Alfresco put in for the Sear Station. The V grates are designed to keep the food and liquid off of the ceramic burner in there. However, the thing is so hot that nothing makes it really down there anyway. It burns up. And if I have to replace that thing prematurely because I swapped this out, so be it. The V rack does not produce very good lines on the food. And the most annoying thing is if you're rotisserie, if you have chickens going and you put a pan under here, the V rack is slightly lower than the regular grates and the pan tilts. That's annoying. And because of the way that I slide this all over the place, you can't slide it back and forth because there's a difference in height, as I mentioned. So changing this out to the regular grate has just really worked great. Most of the time, this thing sits right over here, and I use this for grilling, this for searing. When I do use the griddle, I use it with the Sear Station. That Sear Station produces the perfect amount of heat to get this thing ripping hot. And this is such a thick piece of stainless that you can shut the Sear Station off and still continue to use it, and then slide it off the heat if you want to. You really have to pay attention to it, but I'm telling you, it has worked out amazing so far. These are really functional right here. They have 2 settings, high and low, and then in storage, I've got one in the middle and one in storage. I leave them in pretty much all the time, but when you rotisserie, you do have to kick them up into that upward position. These briquettes are mounted in a stainless steel frame, which is really high quality. It hasn't warped or, it's not falling apart in any way. But you do have to pull these out from time to time. And Alfresco says just flip them over and run the grill for 15 minutes to clean them. You could probably hit them with a hose first, or a light pressure washing. But they're not the style which some manufacturers have gone to, where you can just flip them over and continue cooking and just constantly flip them to keep them clean. This is a smoker style or liquid. It will hold liquid if you wanted to infuse the food with some kind of steam, like beer maybe, or if you want to put wood chips or pellets. It has its own burner right there called smoker, and it produces quite a bit of smoke. We have a Traeger way down there on the dock. I don't know if you can see it right there under this gazebo. So whenever we do smoking or long cooks, I usually just use the Traeger. I don't use this. I can't remember if I showed you this or not, but this pulls out and you can remove this tray and wash it out in the yard, and that catches any liquid that drips through. Any solids don't make it through this grate really well, so when you lift this out, I'm assuming that I'm going to have to be careful that nothing falls off of it when I do finally clean those grates. But that's pretty much it with the grill. This remains cool to the touch regardless of how hot that is. And that really helps in the ventilation. I mentioned before that the ventilation under here, air sucks in there and it goes through here. And while you're cooking, the air sucks through here and goes up out through the top of the grill, heated. And that Venturi effect has kept any kind of fumes that the carbon monoxide detector would not like, completely out of the cabinet. Our carbon monoxide detector has never gone off, even when we're cooking, and that's a really good sign that I'm getting good ventilation. I have tested it, by the way, so I do know that it works, but that's it for the grill. This down here is a refrigerator, and you can see I'm getting a little bit of temperature leakage, causing some condensation there, but it's all stainless. It gets super cold. We keep mostly just beer in it, and if I'm cooking, I'll stick like a tray of vegetables or whatever it is that I need to keep fresh. But normally this is just a temporary fridge that I only use while I'm cooking. In here we've got these drawers, up here beer and stuff, and down here is water, which we're out of. Drink a lot of water. And the front of this fridge has the exhaust grate and the intake grate right up here in the front. Nothing in the back, so it is truly designed to be mounted in a cabinet. That's it for the fridge. This little chest of drawers has full rollers, full extension rollers, which is great. And it's soft close, it's really high quality. And what I keep in here is some koozies, lighter, flashlight, my temperature. This is the best thermometer ever. It's called a Thermopen. I highly recommend it. That's the remote for the fans, and I use this to tell how hot the griddle is, mostly. Down here, I stuck a paper towel holder, happened to fit perfectly, so I have access to paper towels easily. And then my rotisserie forks, some twine for tying up chickens and stuff, a little extra bottle here, and some fabric baggies for when we do crab boil and stuff like that. Down here on the bottom, I keep all of the high heat stuff like apron, gloves if I were to move the grates around, a little rag right here, just various things way down here on the bottom. I have no fear of anything in here melting being this close to the grill, because the way the grill is designed, this does not get any heat whatsoever. I've tested it and it is perfectly, there's no heat. It's really incredible how you can get these components so close together and not really have to worry about anything catching on fire. The reason for that is they actually offer this grill with the refrigerator and a little chest of drawers in a rolling portable cart. So they designed it so you could get everything super close together and not have to worry about any kind of heat problem. Under here, these are Alfresco Doors. They offer this as a separate option to put this little tray here. I don't use it on this side. I do use it on that side. But I got this little stainless steel can from, or pail from West Marine. It's about 2.5 gallons, and it's great for trash. I put the same mat that I used in the sink down there for some additional ventilation. And I need to clean up these wires back here at some point, but right there is that thing that I was telling you about. What do you call it? Carbon monoxide and propane gas detector. It's Wi-Fi. It interfaces with an app called Smart Life, which controls all of the fans and switches and whatever throughout the house. So if there's a problem, I would get an alert on my phone. I tested it by lighting the candle in here, and it went off pretty quickly. So I know it's working, but a little peace of mind there. Then this side over here is a little bit more organized, even though it has way more going on. I couldn't put the trash on this side, even though I have all that space, because the door won't open any further because it hits the wall here. And you can see just how close the clearance is. I had to actually cut the stone right here to get the frame to fit. Same mat as the other one. We've got the disposal, all the plumbing. I've got an extra outlet right here, and the rest of the electrical that comes in over there. That is the battery backup and the power interface for the faucet. Here's the shutoffs for the supply for hot and cold. And if I put this outlet right here, just in case I wanted to charge something or I needed an extra power outlet, I figured it was just a good place to put that. I had to put this box in here anyway, because this is where the junction is that goes down under the pavers to the center column thing behind me. We keep the stainless cleaner. By the way, this is the best stainless cleaner I have ever used, ever in my life. Very good stuff. And of course the soap to refill soap dispenser over there. So that is pretty much it. I can't remember if I talked about this in any great detail, but it was a linear drain for a shower. I got it on Amazon. I actually got it on Amazon used. I cut it down, and then I bought this little piece of stainless right here as a filler, because this was just a little bit too short, about a 1/4 inch too short. So between the filler and the drain, everything lines up. You can see the slant on the floor is corrected to keep everything level. That's mounted into the cabinet. That's it for the grill. I'll show you this real quick. This is screwed to the wall. It is stainless, of course. This is grapeseed oil that I use to spray down the grates, avocado oil that I use to spray on food regularly. This one's empty. I fill it with water if I'm cooking something on the griddle that I need some water. This is oil, avocado oil that I use on the griddle. We've got some pepper blend. This is Pennsylvania pepper from Spices Inc. Stuff is amazing. Highly recommend this stuff. And here's my pepper cannon and my salt cannon. Kind of a pricey thing to just leave out here, but they hold up in the weather, and they've been really great. This collection of pans, they're all stainless. It's made by a company called Aus Iron. These three, they're called Noni or Noni, I think, and it's a 4 series stainless. So 416, 419, I don't know what the 409 maybe, but the reason why they use that series is that's typically what you would find in an exhaust system on a car, high performance exhaust system, and it handles the heat very well. So they chose that. Pretty smart. This is actually a forever wear cast iron stainless steel pan. I have yet to use it, but if you didn't know, they do make a cast iron stainless steel pan. These are actually milk frothing little measuring cups for a coffee system. I use them out here because I can put butter or an herb mix and keep it right on the grill, right on this burner right here. I can just stick it there and spoon it over the food that I'm cooking. Works really great. I have a couple different sizes. Up here are some lids that I use for steaming when I'm using the griddle. This is a little griddle pan, and this is a paella pan in the back there, and then some grill tools. This little pot rack came from Amazon, and I didn't use the ones that came with it. I bought these stainless steel hooks because they would hold up better out here. I've got this little hamburger press for smash burgers, a meat hook, and then the rotisserie sits right up there very nicely. Up there, a local artist did a tarpon, snook, and redfish in a distressed, type of art style. And my wife found this bird, which I think is super cool, in that it is facing the fish, kind of, stalking the fish. This was originally brown, and I distressed it, painted it white, so that it would match the bird and really look better out here. So that is probably more than you ever wanted to know about my outdoor kitchen, but if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It really, really helps the channel. Please subscribe. Check out the series of build videos that I did on this outdoor kitchen. And every time you hit that like button, every time you comment, every time you subscribe, or everyone that subscribes, it really, really helps my channel. And I appreciate it. I try to answer every single comment. And over the years, a lot of my video ideas come from YouTube comments anyway. So you guys, if you have any ideas or you want to see any videos coming up, please leave them in the comments and let me know. I'll do a quick video real quick of everything covered up. And that'll be it for this one. Here's what everything looks like covered. This I got from Amazon. It's just a super cheap vinyl table cover that happened to fit perfectly. Here's the seam, and how lucky is that? I have a cover like this with elastic around the bottom being made that'll just cover the top here, and I think that'll be the one that I use every day. And then if we were going out of town for an extended period of time, I would put this on. But the covers, as you can see, this is designed for the side burner. It fits the sink really well. The only problem is during a sideways rain, this will fill up with water. So I may punch a hole right here and just put a little stainless steel grommet right here to let water drain through, because that would be a problem if we weren't home. I wouldn't want water sitting in there for any period of time. The grill cover goes all the way around to the back. It seals nicely, well, it doesn't seal, but lays nicely against the granite and keeps water off the grill. It keeps the grill really clean. I was never really into covering stuff, to be honest with you. I was just too lazy, but with this setup, because it's so close to the elements, I do cover it all the time whenever I'm not using it. And it's so nice to come out here and have really clean, everything clean, because I've learned my lesson when it comes to the covers. But anyway, that's what that looks like covered up. And this is really, really, really the end now. So thanks for watching. I know this is kind of a long video, but if you're into these outdoor kitchen projects and want some ideas, I hope you found some value in this one. And please subscribe. I'll say it again. It really, really helps the channel. See you next time.